Okay, so let's start on our first project. And I'm imagining we're making a short clip here about reptiles as a project for school. Now, I need to get some content onto my scene, and there's a couple of ways I could get content. One would be if I grabbed my camera and went and took some film of some crocodiles or turtles or something, and I could bring it back and put it in. Another would be I could use Google Veo, which is a video generation tool. But we'll come back to Veo. That's an interesting one. We'll come back to that later. For now, let's go to the stock library. And there's a whole bunch of built-in clips that are part of a large collection called the stock library. And I can search for particular themes. So let's type in reptiles, press enter, and it will search for me anything that has to do with reptiles. So this is great. There's a ton of stuff in here. I'm only interested in videos right now. So I click on the word videos to expand that out. And I can see all the video clips in the library that have something to do with reptiles. Now, I think I'm going to pick this one of some turtles here because I like that one. I'm going to click that and pop it up there. And you can see as I click the clip, it automatically gets put onto the stage area. And down here, you'll notice that what was my default 5-second clip has now become a 13-second clip because the clip that I put on the scene was 13 seconds long. So the scene will expand to the length of the clip. That's a really important concept. And you can see if I play that by clicking the play button, that clip will just play on the stage like that. Now, if the clip is if the scene is too long now, I can grab it by the end and shorten it down. So that's fine. But be aware that if you take the clip and drag it longer, you take the scene and drag it longer than the clip, you will eventually run out of clip. So you can see if I just go to there and hit play, when I get to the 13-second mark, I run out of clip. And so it's just playing the empty scene in the background. So really important concept. You will run out of clip if you make your scene longer than your clip. All right, so let's make that shorter again. And so we've got about 10 seconds worth there. So if I go to the beginning, you can see I can hit the play button and it will play. Now, right now it's playing in an object on the scene up here. And it's a little bit like Google Slides. I can click on it like that and I can move it around. It's just an object on the scene and I can move it around. That's handy sometimes if you wanted to say put some text beside it or maybe put another image or put two video clips next to each other. You can do all of that stuff because it's a floating object on the scene. Works a little bit different to most video editors. But if you wanted it to behave more like standard video where it takes up the entire scene, you can of course grab it by the corner and drag it out and enlarge it. In fact, there's a little shortcut for this. If you right click on the clip, you can say expand the video to fill the scene. And when you do that, it just automatically goes as big as it can to fit the scene. And you can see as I go back down here now and hit the play button, there is my video clip playing full screen on that scene. Now, that's great. You also notice that the timeline down here is showing a thumbnail of what's happening up here. You might, when you do your first one, this might be gray for a little while before it turns into the thumbnails. It does take a few moments to process. So if yours is gray and not yet showing the clip, don't panic. It will just take a moment to do that and then it'll be fine. Now, one of the other things I might want to do, because this is an opening scene here, I might want to put some text on here to say, my reptile project or something like that. So great, I've got a text option over here. I can click on that and you can see I have some text options. Now, if you wanted to treat this much the same as Google Slides, you can obviously come up here, click a title, put in a title like reptiles. You can move it around, make it bold, change the font, change the color. You can do all of that sort of stuff exactly the same as in Google Slides. So that's great. But let's have a look at what else is here. You've got a whole bunch of pre-made blocks of text for you. And these are just blocks of text made up of shapes, text, and other objects and assembled and grouped together. So if I want this one, for example, I can click on that. I can click on it, move it around. Obviously, I can do things like double click into it and say, I don't know, my reptile project. Let's do that. Project. Each of these blocks are just blocks. If I click on, say, the pink one, you can see I can change its color exactly like I can do in Google Slides. Let's change the blue one to, I don't know, maybe that green. There you go. So you can fiddle around with that and make it however you want. Now, One of the things you might notice when you put some text or some other object on top of a scene like this is it will last for as long as the scene is. So this scene is a bit over 10 seconds long, and if I was to go back to the beginning and play that, you'll see that that text is there for the entire duration of that clip. And that's great. That's fine if that's what you want. But sometimes you want the clip to start and maybe have the text fade in over the top or appear halfway through. There is a good way to do this, and that's using this button that says Show Timing. When I open up the Show Timing button, in fact, let's just get rid of this on the side to have a bit more room. When I show the timing, you can see I can see all the layers that are in this particular scene now. I can see the yellow layer is the video, and the black layer is the three objects, one, two, three, that make up my text block. So if I want my text block to be not as long as the full clip, I can click on it and then grab it by the end and shorten it down. In fact, let's shorten it from both ends just to show how this works. So what I would end up now is my turtle swimming around, and then my title comes up. It lasts for as long as that black object, and then the title disappears. And so you can control how long things are on the scene by just changing them in the timing button over here. Now, I will say that if you just come back over here and just click on this scene, um, there is a little button here called animation. And so one of the things you can do with these blocks of text that sit on top of your videos or any object really, not just text, you can choose the animation and you can change the way it comes onto and off the stage. So we've got a whole bunch of sliding and breathing and elastic sliding, and there's a whole bunch of options in here. And in fact, you don't have to have it enter and exit the same way. You can click this little switch at the bottom and then you can have the entrance different to the exit. So let's do this. Let's make it as the entrance, let's make it slide in. Let's do it a little bit slowly. And then for the exit, let's make it fade out. And again, let's make it a little bit slowly. So what we should end up now with is, if we go back and play this, it will slide in from the side and it will stay there for as long as we want, and then it'll fade out at the end. So you can see that by using the hide timings or show timings, if you don't want to see it, you hide it. If you turn it on, you show it. You can see all the objects that are on that particular scene, and you have individual control over how long each lasts and how it comes into and off the scene. So a lot of control over how that works. Now, we haven't done very much yet. We've just created our very first scene. There's a lot more to do, but hopefully in this little lesson, you've understood the concept of finding things in the stock library, placing things on the scene, changing their duration, changing their size, and then putting other objects on here as well, and then using the timing option here to control how they come on and off the stage, including using the animation panel to control exactly how they come on and off the stage. So there you go. There's our first section of our video. Let's pause it there and go on to the next one.